Millionaire CEO recognizes humiliated black beggar at wedding over brand on hand. Lily stood frozen in the opulent wedding venue, surrounded by chandeliers draped in crystal light and walls adorned with golden accents. It felt like a fairy tale, a world where dreams came true, except she was the only one waiting for an ending that would never come. Her heart pounded as she replayed Brian's words in her mind. "I can't do this." The sting of betrayal cut deeper than any knife, leaving her breathless, tasting salt on her lips as tears threatened to spill. The guests who once surrounded her had scattered like leaves in the wind, their whispers echoing around her like a haunting melody. "Look at that unfortunate soul." A voice drifted from a nearby table, followed by light chuckles. A lump formed in Lily's throat. No one saw her anguish. They were more interested in gossip than her heartache. She tugged at her wedding dress, feeling the weight of her own misery press down. The what? He scanned the room, and when his gaze landed on Lily, something changed. He approached her with a hesitant smile. "Hey, are you okay?" His voice was soft but strong, carrying a warmth that melted her frozen state. "You look like you could use a friend." Lily managed a weak smile, though her heart still thudded with pain. I was just left at the altar," she admitted, the embarrassment washing over her like a cold wave. She couldn't meet his eyes, fearing vulnerability would tear her apart. But Jake didn't flinch. "I'm so sorry." His sincerity felt like a balm. "You're strong for standing here. It shows your courage." She frowned, unsure if she was strong or just stubborn. Yet there was something in his voice, a thread of compassion that pulled her in. As they talked, they shared stories and laughter, unwittingly weaving a tapestry of connection. But somewhere amidst their chatter, the tension returned. Brian's shadow loomed large over the moment, and Lily felt a familiar twinge in her gut. He was controlling, even from afar. Would he come looking for her? The laughter of the guests faded, replaced by a suffocating silence that gripped her heart. Let him expose himself, Jake said. She loved Brian once, she reminded herself, but the thought of his grip on her life, suffocating and cold, galvanized her. Maybe she could stand up to him, not alone, but with Jake by her side. Suddenly, a rustle drew their attention. An envelope slid from Jake's coat pocket, fluttering to the floor. Lily picked it up, heart racing as she opened it. Inside was a will, detailing a hidden connection between her and Jake, one that could change everything. The words blurred as panic surged through her. Family secrets, painful truths, and ties she never knew existed now loomed ahead. Jake's gaze snapped to her, curiosity mixed with concern. "What is it?" Lily's mind began racing. Could this be a way to reclaim her life? Or was it just another layer of chaos? As uncertainty washed over her, she felt a spark of something she hadn't in a while. Hope. She looked into Jake's eyes, and for the first time since the wedding, the darkness felt a bit lighter. But what lay ahead? They stood on the edge of a storm, ready to dive into the unknown. Hey! Before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without prior notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you are still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And since you're here, leave that powerful like that helps me a lot with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, from which city are you watching this? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. As they stood there, hearts racing in the midst of the chaos, the air felt thick with uncertainty. Jake's eyes searched Lily's for answers, yet he was unaware of the storm brewing just beyond their connection. Lily's fingers grazed the paper in her hands, still trembling from the information it carried. The envelope felt alive, a flurry of secrets weighing against her chest. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the room. Guests turned, gasping collectively. The ornate doors of the venue swung open, revealing a figure standing there, drenched and disheveled. It was Brian. His face was twisted in a mixture of anger and regret, eyes wide as he scanned the room. Whispers broke out, murmurs of shock rippling through the crowd like an electric current. "Lily," he shouted, voice thick with desperation. He stumbled forward, moving past tables, and for a moment time felt suspended. His gaze locked onto her, a mix of regret and something darker swirling within that made her stomach churn. "Brian, what are you doing here?" Lily's voice was barely a whisper, the weight of all they had shared crashing over her like a tidal wave. She felt Jake tense beside her, a protective instinct she hadn't expected. But just then, as if summoned by Brian's arrival, a commotion erupted from the back of the room. A woman pushed through the crowd, her expression fierce and resolute. "How could you leave her?" she spat, pointing an accusatory finger directly at Brian. The room fell silent, the tension palpable. "Who are you?" Brian shot back, defenses rising like a fortress. "That's not important," she shot back with a sharp edge. "Lily deserves answers, and I'm here to give them." Lily's heart raced. Who was this woman? A part of her wanted to hide, to slip away from the spotlight that felt so unbearably hot now. But the other part, the fiery one ignited by Jake's earlier words, wanted to stand her ground. "Enough," Lily finally shouted, her voice cutting through the rising tension. "What do you mean? What do you know?" The woman took a step forward, her voice trembling yet fierce. "I'm your sister, Lily, your twin sister." Gasps filled the room like wildfire, eyes widening with disbelief. A whirlwind of emotions washed over Lily. Shock, confusion, and anger. Sister? She felt a surge of disbelief flood her veins. How could she not know? Why would Brian hide this? Lily's mind spun as she turned to Jake, searching for a lifeline. His expression was one of shock, but also determination. He seemed ready to fight by her side no matter the chaos. But Brian's face transformed, the facade of regret crumbling into something darker, something dangerous. "You don't know what you're inviting," he warned, eyes narrowing dangerously. "You need to stay away from her." "What do you know?" Jake stepped forward, protectiveness radiating from him, fists clenched. "I know the past has a way of catching up with us," Brian sneered, revealing a side of himself Lily had never seen before. A mask shattering to reveal something sinister. "And you don't want to know what I've done." Shockwaves of dread coursed through Lily, her heart pounding in rhythm with her spiraling thoughts. Was there more to Brian than she ever realized? Secrets intertwined like barbed wire around her heart, tightening with each revelation. "Please," she managed to choke out, glancing at the woman, her sister, who looked back like a page torn from a long-lost book of her life. "Just tell me everything." Brian stepped closer, a predatory glint in his eyes. "You have no idea what you're asking for," he said, voice low and threatening. "But if you want the truth, hold on tight, because it's going to change everything." As dread filled the atmosphere, one truth became painfully clear. Nothing would ever be the same again. The room felt like it was closing in, breaths caught in throats, and the storm was just beginning. As Brian's warning hung in the air, dread crept into Lily's soul. She felt Jake tense beside her, every muscle coiled, ready for confrontation. But then all eyes shifted, drawn to the back of the room once more. The doors swung open wildly, revealing a young girl no more than 12, eyes wide and frantic. "Stop, don't hurt her!" she shrieked, standing in the entrance like a storm ready to break. Gasps erupted, every face twisted in shock. "Who are you?" Brian barked, irritation lacing his words as he turned toward the girl. I'm "I'm your daughter," she stammered, voice tremoring, eyes brimmed with tears. The words crashed over the room, ricocheting off the walls, rattling the chandeliers. Lily felt the floor shift beneath her. Daughter? What now? Confusion swirled in her mind, a whirlwind of disbelief. How was this possible? Brian's eyes, once filled with anger, flickered with recognition. "You can't be. I never had—" "You did," the girl interrupted, stepping forward, shaking with emotion. "You abandoned us." The atmosphere shattered like glass. The whispers ignited, spreading like wildfire through the crowd. "No way. Is that true?" someone muttered. The tension ballooned. Lines were drawn, alliances formed and shattered in an instant. "Get out of here, Emily! You shouldn't be here!" Brian shouted, voice quaking. The rage and fear twisted his face, revealing a man pushed to the edge. "No, I deserve to be here. You can't hide from this anymore," Emily screamed back, devastation leaking through her words. "Mom wanted you to take care of me." Lily's heart raced. She stumbled back. The weight of the unfolding nightmare pressing down on her. Emily was real. That connection felt visceral and raw. Her veins pulsed with adrenaline as she realized Brian was not just a controlling ex-fiancé. He was a father who had left his child, leaving a trail of ruin in his wake. This wasn't just about betrayal. It was about lives wrecked and families torn apart. "Brian, what's happening?" Lily's voice broke through her shock. The revelation hung heavy, but she needed answers, needed to understand what this meant for her life. "What does she know?" Brian spat, his eyes narrowing, a sudden flicker of danger returning. "Don't listen to her lies." Emily stepped closer, undeterred. "It's not a lie. I'm the proof that you're a coward. My mom told me everything before she died. You walked away, and I was left with nothing." Lily's world tilted violently. Her thoughts jumbled. Did Brian paint his past with lies? Did he hide the truth from her too? "Is this true?" she demanded, looking into Brian's eyes. "Did you really leave her?" For a fleeting moment, vulnerability crossed Brian's face, only to be replaced by cold indifference. "What does it matter?" he sneered, voice dripping with contempt. "She's just a complication I don't need." The room gasped, the collective breath held like a heavy weight. Lily fought back the urge to recoil. How could he say that? How could he treat his own flesh and blood like this? "But I'm not going away," Emily insisted, her voice steady through trembling lips. "You think you can walk out again? I'll make sure everyone knows what kind of man you are." Brian's eyes darkened, rage filling the gaps of his facade. "Stay out of this, little girl. You have no idea." But Jake stepped forward, defiance anchoring him. "No, you're the one who doesn't get it. What goes around comes around, Brian. The truth has teeth, and it bites." Just as the tension peaked, a loud crash echoed from above. The chandelier began to tremble, tilting precariously as a piece broke free, plummeting toward the floor. Time stopped. Gasps filled the air, bodies tensed, eyes wide. Lily screamed, but it was too late. The crystal fixture shattered, raining down in a cascade of glass and glitter. She flinched, instinct telling her to protect herself, but immediately turned toward Emily, her heart racing. Jake lunged to shield her. What everything dissolved in chaos. The world erupted around them, a whirlwind of cutting glass and panic. A scream echoed, and Lily lost sight of everyone. Time stretching like a rubber band, every heartbeat stretched thin. In that instant, the truth, suspended in the air, felt heavier than the wreckage falling. When the dust settled, Lily knelt amidst the aftermath, breathless and terrified. Who had been hit? What had just happened? Reality spun as she searched for the others, a pit forming in her stomach. A new truth whispered among the wreckage. Secrets fractured, alliances shattered, and lives changed. And at that moment, nothing felt certain. Lily knelt amidst the shards of crystal, heart racing like a drumbeat in her ears. The bright lights above flickered, casting an eerie glow over the chaos, and the air was thick with fear and confusion. She blinked, trying to comprehend the wreckage, but all she could see were the faces around her, each one reflecting shock, horror, and uncertainty. Was everyone okay? Where were Jake and Emily? Through the veil of glass and glitter, she caught a glimpse of Brian, eyes wide and frantic. He was frozen in place, shock evident on his face as he gazed at the fallen chandelier. It was as if the world had shifted. For the first time, he seemed less like the man she had loved and more like a cornered animal, desperate and dangerous. "Get back!" he yelled, voice trembling with panic. "Someone call for help!" Lily's breath hitched. Was there still danger? Had anyone been hurt? Her internal chaos surged as she scrambled to her feet, scanning the room. The guests around them were moving, jostling, but the tension hung in the air, thick as smoke. "Emily!" she called, panic clawing at her throat. "Jake! Lily! I'm here!" Jake's voice broke through, a beacon in the chaos. He appeared a moment later, gripping Emily's shoulders. The girl's face was pale, eyes wide, as if she was seeing a ghost. The crowd began to part, revealing a figure on the floor. A man in a tuxedo, a pool of blood forming beneath him. A gasp swept through the room, harsh and sharp. "Is he?" someone whispered, horrified. Lily's heart stuttered. Was the man dead? Confusion gripped her mind, and then she noticed the elegant lines of the tuxedo, the familiar features twisted in agony. "Is that?" she murmured, disbelief settling in like ice in her veins. "Brian!" Emily shouted, horror clouding her voice. Brian rushed forward, eyes wide, a whirlwind of panic. As he pushed through the crowd, realization crept in, disturbing the fragile atmosphere. He knelt beside the man, shaking his shoulders. "Wake up! What happened?" But the man remained still, the life drained from him like the last rays of a setting sun. "He's my father!" Emily's voice trembled, breaking Lily from her shock. The girl's expression morphed from disbelief to fury as she stood there, fists clenched, tears rolling down her cheeks. "He left my mother. He abandoned us." Brian's face twisted, rage, or was it desperation, flaring. "He had no right. This is not how it was supposed to go." Within that chaotic moment, the world fell silent. The sounds of the wedding faded into a background hum, leaving only Emily's sobs echoing in the void. Her revelation landed like a grenade among them, tearing apart the very ground they stood upon. "What do you mean he left?" Lily felt like she was drowning. How did Emily fit into this? Was Lily even safe? In that moment, as Brian cradled the lifeless man's head in his lap, a new truth surfaced from the corners of their shattered reality. They weren't just entangled in a story of betrayal and love. This was a tapestry of secrets woven through generations. The layers were peeling back, revealing connections that could not only destroy Brian, but shake the foundation of everything Lily had known. Suddenly, a shadow loomed behind Lily. She turned, heart racing. A woman emerged from the crowd, face pale yet fierce. "I'm here to set things right," she declared, voice strong, cutting through the tension like a knife. Lily's stomach twisted. Who was this woman? What secrets did she hold? Another twist in an already chaotic day. The room held its breath, and Lily felt a pulse of dread ripple through her. No one could prepare for what came next. As the truth unraveled, alliances would shift and lives would shatter. But amid the storm, one question loomed, larger than the rest. What would it take for the past to finally set them free? As the mysterious woman stepped forward, the air thickened with tension. Lily felt the weight of every eye in the room as they turned toward her, hanging on every word. This was supposed to be a celebration, but instead, it felt like a funeral. "What do you mean you're here to set things right?" Lily asked, unsure if she wanted answers or to run away. Each second dragged as the mysterious woman took a deep breath, her expression unwavering. "I'm your mother," she said, and the declaration hit like a thunderclap. Everything stopped. All breath was held. Gasps ripped through the crowd like a tidal wave. Confusion washed over Lily, her mind racing. "What? How is that possible?" She glanced at Brian, who looked like he had seen a ghost. "I'm sorry for not being there, for everything," the woman continued, voice trembling but fierce. "You were taken from me when you were just a baby. Brian and I—" "Don't you dare!" Brian's voice thundered, cutting her off. "You were nothing but a kid back then. This is not going to happen." Lily turned to Brian, her heart hammering. "You did this? You kept this from me? From all of us?" She felt rage rising, burning her throat. This was a betrayal like no other. "Lily, listen," he began, but the weight of truth was suffocating. "No!" Emily yelled, stepping forward. "You don't get to twist it. You abandoned your family. You're a liar." "Shut up," Brian snapped, and though he advanced, Jake stepped protectively in front of Lily. "Stop it. Everyone just stop," Jake's voice echoed, grounding Lily like a beacon in the storm. "Get it together." But just then, another crash rang out, slicing through the chaos. This time, the venue's large mirrors shattered, raining shards like confetti. The crowd recoiled, screams punctuating the air. From the chaos emerged a figure, an older woman with torn clothes and wild hair, eyes sharp and wild. "You think you can hide from the truth?" she shouted. "You can't escape your past, Brian." Brian looked like a cornered animal, eyes darting as he faced her. "Who are you?" "I'm someone who knows where all the bodies are buried," the woman bellowed. Silence enveloped the room. A chill crept down Lily's spine. What other secrets lingered in the shadows? The mysterious woman stepped back, thin fingers trembling, and before anyone could react, she thrust a crumpled letter into Lily's hands. "You need to read this. It's about your true father," she whispered, voice shaking. Lily's heart sank. Confusion twisted in her stomach as she stared at the letter. The reality of everything pressing against her like a vice. Brian's face paled. "No, you mustn't. Put that down." But her hands wouldn't obey. Trembling fingers peeled the envelope open. The words blurred as shock coursed through her. Just before she could read further, another screech erupted, louder than before. A figure, a man she didn't recognize, burst in through the doors, shouting, "You've got to help! They've come for you!" The room turned chaotic. Lily felt her heart drop. Who were they? "Lily!" Jake shouted, but it was harder to hear over the noise. The crowd surged like a wave, panic setting in. The mysterious woman stepped back, eyes wide. "They can't find you," she yelled, fear etched into her voice. Brian's face twisted in terror and rage, the facade of control ripping apart. And just like that, the world they all knew shattered into pieces. What lay ahead? The truth was a storm poised to break everything apart. Lily's heart raced. Where was the safety she once knew? Had she only been running toward deeper chaos? With the letter clutched in her hands, Lily braced for the worst, knowing nothing would ever be the same again. The moment hung heavy in the air, a quivering silence draping over the chaos. Lily gripped the envelope tightly, her heart racing as they stood on the brink of revelation. But the words on the paper felt like a lightning rod for the tension swirling around them. What could this letter possibly hold? Just then a shadow flickered behind her, and Lily turned to see a frantic Emily rushing towards her. "No, please don't read it." Her voice was a panicked whisper, wide eyes pleading. Their gazes met fiercely, but before Lily could respond, the air shifted again. Suddenly, the lights began to flicker erratically, buzzing like wasps in a boiling hive. Guests screamed, faces twisting in confusion and fear. Then, without warning, a loud explosion blasted from the back of the room. The sound reverberated off the walls, reverberating like a drumbeat of chaos. Everyone's heads turned in that direction, shock rippling through the crowd as smoke billowed up from the entrance, obscuring the vision. "Get down," Jake shouted, his arms wrapping protectively around Lily and Emily. Panic surged through Lily's veins as she ducked instinctively, heart racing furiously. Then, amidst the rising chaos, something unexpected happened. From the smoke emerged a figure, a man dressed in a sleek black outfit, but his face was obscured by a mask. A chill settled over Lily, not out of fear, but out of recognition. The shape of his build, the way he moved, she knew him. It was someone she had never expected to see again. Mark, the man from her past who had vanished without a trace. "Lily," Mark exclaimed, voice slightly muffled through the mask, but still unmistakable. "I'm here to help you." "What are you doing here?" Confusion clashed with a wave of raw emotion in her throat. "You!" But before she could finish, Brian rushed forward, eyes flashing dangerously. "You don't belong here!" he roared. But Mark's presence seemed to cast a new tension that overshadowed Brian's threats. "I'm not here for you," Mark snapped back, focus directed only at Lily. "You don't understand the danger you're in." "What danger?" Lily felt a mix of disbelief and dread. "What do you know?" Brian surged forward again, desperation lining his features, but Mark raised a hand, halting him. "Stay back. You're the last thing she needs." Panic surged through the onlookers as the guests shifted uneasily, whispers rippling through the crowd. This was escalating beyond a mere family confrontation. Then, as if orchestrated by fate, the ground shook lightly beneath their feet. A low rumble echoed, and outside, sirens wailed, growing louder. The entire venue started to feel alive, almost as if it had a pulse of its own. "Lily," Mark continued urgently, "you have to trust me. This is about more than Brian, more than your family. There are secrets that go beyond what you know." Each word felt like a weight on her chest, her mind racing with possibilities. Was there truly a more shadowy past entwining their lives? Was this all a scripted farce unfolding before her? But just as fear stirred inside her, another crash split the air. The doors were flung open again, and swarms of police stormed in, their presence commanding. "Everyone stay calm. We're investigating a reported threat." Lily's heart sank. They had come for her? What had Mark gotten her into? Body tense, she felt all eyes on her now, the room teetering on the edge of chaos. In that instant, everything she thought she knew began to fray. Secrets were tangled like a web, spinning faster than she could grasp. And now, there were forces at play she couldn't even comprehend. "Lily," Brian shouted, voice fraught with urgency, but Mark stepped in front of her, protecting her from Brian's panic-fueled desperation. "Step aside. This is about her life." Lily's breath caught in her throat as she realized that she was standing in a complex network of dangers, hidden truths, and a past that was unraveling in front of her eyes. As the crowd erupted into frenzied shouts, one thought pierced through the chaos. What if the truth Mark spoke of held more than she could ever be ready for? In the storm of confusion, she felt that perhaps the real danger was just beginning. The moment hung heavy in the air, a quay. Lily gripped the envelope tightly, her heart racing as they stood on the brink of revelation. The tension began to pulsate with a life of its own. Each breath labored under the weight of truth and fear. "Lily, please don't read it." Emily's wide eyes were filled with dread, breaking through the chaos with her desperate plea. Just then, the lights flickered violently overhead, buzzing as if they were alive in their panic. The crowd gasped, shuffling toward the exits. Then, a loud explosion blasted from the back of the room. The sound reverberated through the heavy air, punctured by the shrieks and gasps of horrified guests. Smoke billowed into the foyer, swirling ominously as Lily felt the weight of 1,000 eyes on her, and her heart plummeted into a chasm of despair. "Get down!" Jake shouted, instinctively wrapping his arms around Lily and Emily. The room erupted into chaos, screams amplifying the already frantic air. Lily ducked involuntarily, echoing the panicked heart that raced within her. But amidst the turmoil, a figure emerged from the smoke, a man clad in an all-black outfit, his face concealed by a mask that glinted ominously in the dwindling light. "Lily," Mark's voice cut through the noise like a knife. "It couldn't be him. Not here. Not now. I'm here to help you." "What?" Confusion twisted inside her, battling the remnants of fear that clung tightly. "You!" Before she could finish, Brian lunged at Mark, eyes fierce with venom. But Mark held a hand up. "Stay back. This is about her life." Lily's breath quickened. "My life?" she echoed, trying to untangle the chaotic web before her. "What danger?" "Brian has hidden so much from you," Mark declared, stepping closer, urgency vibrating in each word. "What I'm about to tell you could change everything." At that moment, the ground shook beneath them, a tremor sending shivers through her spine. Sirens blared outside, growing closer. Then the doors burst open once more, and waves of police streamed in, shoving back the crowd that surged in panic. "Everyone, stay calm," shouted an officer, his voice cutting through the thunder of chaos. "We're investigating a threat. We need to secure the area." Lily's heart sank deeper, dread pooling in her stomach. "Why are they here? What do you know?" she demanded, turning to Mark, who looked past her, his expression mutating into a mix of terror and regret. "They are here for Brian." Mark hesitated, the weight in his eyes heavy. "But there's more. Lily, you don't understand the truth of who you really are." "Enough," Brian barked, voice trembling but filled with fury. "You're not supposed to be here." "Brian," an unfamiliar voice rang out, cutting through the shouts. A woman, wild-haired and breathless, pushed through the crowd, eyes fixed crazily on Brian. "They are coming for all of us." "What do you mean?" Lily felt ice seep into her veins. "They found us." The woman was shaking, despair wrapping her voice like a shroud. "They've been waiting for you, Lily." With that, the lights above them burst, a flash of blinding white consuming the room. It was as if the very air had ignited. In the chaos, Lily felt someone grab her hand, yanking her back to safety as the world around her spun into a chaotic symphony of screams and shattered glass. Then, silence. When the brightness faded, Lily found herself in a freezing stillness. The officer's voice became a whisper in the background, as her gaze settled on the crumpled letter still in her hand. But this time, it didn't feel like a mere piece of paper. It felt like a lifeline into a void of darkness. Breathless, she looked around. Brian's angry expression, Emily's tear-streaked face, and Mark's hopeful demeanor, all disintegrating into the horror surrounding them. But there was something else, a revelation lurking in the shadows. "Wait, they're coming for you, and it's because of what you've done." Just as those words left her lips, the world tilted. A loud thump echoed from behind the chaos, and the walls trembled again. Then a gunshot rang out. In an instant, silence replaced the chaos, the room holding its breath. Lily's heart raced as she spun toward the sound, the source of her greatest fears suddenly becoming real. Everything had changed. Lily felt the ground shift beneath her, and as she looked down at the letter still clutched in her hand, she realized that nothing would ever be the same again. Lily felt the air grow thick as the deafening silence followed the gunshot. It was as if the world froze in that moment, holding its breath while her heart hammered in her chest. She clutched the envelope tighter, fingers trembling, unsure if she should even open it now, after everything that had happened. Then, out of nowhere, a loud crash erupted from the right, and people screamed. The black-clad figure, M. "Everyone, get down!" he shouted. The urgency in his voice sliced through the chaos, but it was too late. A flash of light exploded from the entrance, brighter than the chandelier that had shattered just moments ago. It was blinding, a harsh, searing radiance that engulfed everything. Lily squinted against the glare, her heart racing. The room spun and she lost her footing. Just before she fell, someone grabbed her, steadying her as the light faded, revealing a new figure standing in the doorway. A tall man walked in with a commanding presence. No mask, no disguise, just sheer authority radiating from him. He wore a dark suit, impeccably tailored, and his eyes glinted with a knowledge that neither Lily nor anyone else could grasp. "I've come for what is rightfully mine," he announced, voice smooth and chilling. "What?" Fear danced in Lily's throat. Who was he? The room vibrated with confusion as whispers erupted from every corner. Even Brian stepped back, his bravado crumbling. Mark nearly shouted, "You can't be here!" "Not now!" "Too late," the man replied, a smirk curling at the edges of his lips. "It's time for secrets to come to light." Lily felt a rush of panic. What secrets? She couldn't comprehend the rapid turns of fate relentless against her. The mysterious woman, once fierce, now trembled. "You don't have to do this," she stammered, stepping forward hesitantly. "We can talk. We can find a way." The man shook his head dismissively. "Talk? With you? After all this time?" He lifted something from his pocket. A small, glinting object that caught the dim light. Before she could react, he pointed it toward Mark. "Step away from Lily. This isn't your fight. You have no idea what you're dealing with." Mark's expression turned to horror. "Lily, don't listen to him! Run!" He made a move to grab her, but the man swiftly aimed the object, and in a heartbeat, everything changed. A loud bang reverberated through the room, drowning out Lily's scream as she felt the floor tremble beneath her. The truth shattered, literally and figuratively, as the walls began to quake violently and the ground split open. The sound of cracking stone mingled with the pandemonium around them. Then, in that chaos, Lily glimpsed something slipping from the man's hand, crashing into the ground, sending shockwaves through the air. The object was a device, blaring an ominous siren. Dark tendrils of smoke poured from it, wrapping around them like a living thing. "Lily!" Jake's frantic voice cut through the chaos, but everything swirled in confusion. She stumbled to the side, her mind racing. "What is happening?" The man's eyes narrowed dangerously, the room heating with tension. "Your father made a deal a long time ago, a deal that affects you. You have no idea what you're about to uncover." And then came the twist. The ground betrayed them. In an explosion of dust and darkness, the floor gave way, pulling everyone toward an abyss that seemed to open beneath them. As screams echoed and bodies fell, the last thing Lily saw was the man staring down at her, a malevolent grin stretching across his face. "Welcome to the truth." In that moment of plummeting fear, everything went black. And just like that, every reality she believed shattered, leaving nothing but unanswered questions in the void. Lily felt her heart stop as the ground began to shift beneath her. The darkness engulfed her, pulling her downward. She wanted to scream, but the sound got stuck, trapped in the pit of fear. Time felt lost, stretching into infinity until, bam! With a bone-rattling jolt, the weight of gravity flipped upside down. There was no soft landing. Instead, she collided onto a hard surface, tumbling amidst debris. The smoke around her thickened, burning her nostrils. She gasped and coughed, trying to wipe the remnants of chaos from her eyes. "Lily!" Jake's familiar voice reached her, cutting through the haze. Desperate hands found her, pulling her up. Her pulse thundered in her ears. "What just happened?" she blurted, still dazed. "It's okay, stay close, we have to get out," he urged, glancing nervously at the swirling chaos around them. Around her, confusion reigned. Guests scrambled in panic, some crying, others shouting. The once elegant venue was now a battlefield of broken glass and fear. Lily's heart raced. Where was Mark? Where was Emily? From the shadows, a loud crash. It was a door, swinging open. A figure staggered through, face smeared with dirt and panic etched on every feature. It was Emily, but something was wrong. Her eyes glinted with a wild intensity, and she barely seemed to recognize them. "Emily!" Lily called, relief flooding her voice. But as the girl turned, her expression morphed from fear to something darker. "Stay away from me!" Emily shouted, backing up, shaking her head. "You don't understand." "What do you mean?" Lily's confusion deepened, fear knotting in her stomach. Then, from behind Emily, the man, the one who had seemingly orchestrated everything, stepped into view, a twisted smile creeping across his face. He held a device, its glow shimmering ominously. "Don't you see? You're all part of this." "Part of what?" Jake yelled, stepping protectively in front of Lily, his body tensed, ready to fight. "Lily is the key," the man laughed cruelly, shaking his head. "And you're nothing but pawns in a game much bigger than you realize. You don't know who she really is." Lily's throat tightened. "What are you talking about?" "At the moment of your birth, she was meant to inherit everything. That letter you hold," he pointed accusingly, "it contains a truth you were never supposed to uncover." "What truth?" But before he could answer, Emily's expression shifted. "No, this is wrong," she exclaimed, suddenly trembling. "I can't be involved in this." The man turned to her, frowning. "You don't get to decide that." He stepped forward, menace lurking behind his words. Emily's fear transformed into a fierce resolve. "I will do whatever it takes to protect her," she shouted, shocking everyone into silence. Then, without warning, she lunged at the man, and everything erupted into chaos again. "Stop!" Brian's voice erupted from the crowd. He was back, chaos swirling around him, but he looked different, worn and desperate. The fear in his eyes mirrored what they all felt. Emily collided with the man, and in a blur of motion, a gun dropped from his hand, clattering on the floor. The crowd gasped in unison, shock written on every face. "No!" Brian shouted, terror swallowing his voice. "You don't understand!" Suddenly, the room shook again, but this time the tremors felt different. In that split second, everything altered. Another explosion erupted, but this one was unlike the first. It revealed a hidden door in the wall, swinging wide open, light spilling through. "I found it!" Emily yelled, a spark igniting in her tone. "We have to go now!" But just as they made a move toward the door, the man twisted back. Fury written across his face. "You think running will save you? You don't even know who you are." A deafening silence enveloped them, hanging in the air until Emily turned slowly, her expression unraveling. "What do you mean?" The man's lips curled into a sneer. "Lily, you're not who you think you are. You're a descendant of a bloodline that is worth more than you can ever imagine." The revelation hit like a wave. A collective breath was held. Relationships shifted, alliances crumbled, and in that instant, Lily felt the ground become quicksand. "Wait," her breath caught in her throat. "What do you know?" But before she could find answers, the ground beneath them shook violently again. The hidden light from the door flickered, giving a glimpse of something dark behind it. A new truth loomed, ready to break free, and all Lily could do was stand on the brink, heart racing, desperately uncertain about what this all meant. And in the chaos that ensued, she knew everything she thought she understood was about to change forever. Lily felt her heart race as the man's words hung in the air, heavy with implications. You're a descendant of a bloodline that is worth more than you can ever imagine. Confusion swirled inside her like a storm. She glanced at Jake, desperate for clarity. What does that even mean? But before a response could come, the room trembled again, and dust fell like snow. Emily stood defiantly, eyes fierce. We have to end this now. We can't let him control us anymore. Jake nodded, stepping closer to Lily. We stick together. We find a way out of this. Their determination flickered against the overarching chaos. But just then, the man's smirk widened. You think you have any power here? You're mistaken. He raised the device, the glow intensifying. Get back, Mark shouted, pushing forward, ready to confront him. Lily felt a spark of courage ignite her own spirit. No more running. You don't control us. Her voice cut through the tension, gaining strength. It was as if her heart took a deep breath, gathering resolve. The man's eyes flicked from Lily to Emily, then Jake. You're all fools to think you can defy what's been set in motion. The ground shook again, but this time Lily stayed firm. This ends today. And with that, she rushed toward the man, fueled by anger and anguish. Lily, wait, Jake yelled, but it was too late. In a bold rush, she grabbed the device from his hands. The room gasped. The air thickened with suspense. What do I do? She panted, glancing at Mark. Just smash it, he boomed. With trembling hands, she raised the device high, then brought it down with all her might. The impact sent a shockwave through the room, and a blinding light exploded. Lily shielded her eyes, fear gripping her chest while the man howled, and everything spun. But as the light faded, she felt a warmth surrounding her, dissipating the darkness. When her vision cleared, she stood in an empty, bright space. Confusion turned to awe as she took in her surroundings. Dreamlike, serene. Where are we? Jake's voice broke through, laced with wonder. Is this freedom? Emily whispered, eyes wide. I think it is, Mark replied, a smile creeping across his face. We're free. Lily exhaled, relief flooding her senses. We did it, she breathed. We're finally free from him. But a voice echoed softly, returning them to reality. You can never escape who you are. It was the man's voice, reverberating like a haunting reminder. The group exchanged worried glances, but it all came flooding back. Hot, haunting reminder, still feeling the weight of their shared past. What does he mean? Jake asked, his brow furrowing. Whatever it is, we'll figure it out, together, Lily said, unsure but hopeful. They began to walk toward a distant light that glimmered like a beacon of hope. Each step felt lighter, like shedding the weight of their past. Freedom was here, and they could finally breathe. But just as they reached the light, shadows shifted behind them. A voice called, You thought it was over? Lily turned, heart pounding, anxiety clawing at her throat. What now? And in that moment, doubt crept back in. The future loomed uncertain, and the mysteries of their past swirled like smoke. What do we do next? Jake asked, holding Lily's hand tightly. As they stood on the brink of the unknown, the warmth of the light pushed back the shadows, but the lingering question remained. How deep did the darkness run? She took a deep breath, determination filling her once more. They would face whatever came, hand in hand. And now, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the upcoming exclusive stories. We've got more twists and turns waiting just for you, and this is the moment to show your support. Smash that like button now to boost the algorithm and help us reach more amazing fans like you. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. You won't want to miss the discussion. And don't wait 1 second more to share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to know this conclusion. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel with these actions. Let's keep the story alive together.